Hello, this is Josh Belk, and this is the Belk on Business podcast. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to listen today. Today we're going to talk about value-based leadership. Value-based leadership, and let me kind of define what that is first of all. Then I'm going to point out a few different traits that you'll see in a leader that is value-based. So value-based leadership is when a leader draws both on his or her own values as well as the values of the individual on the team to provide direction and motivation. I'll read that one more time. So value-based leadership is when a leader draws both on his or her own values as well as the values of the individual on the team to provide direction and motivation. So to be effective in leading a team, a leader brings value by exhibiting the following traits. So when we look at a leader that's a value-based type of a leader, and it really wants to have its values aligned with the values of its employees to be able to get the business to where he or she wants the business to get to, the leader is going to exhibit these following traits. First of all is that of transparency. So this is allowing for honesty and providing viewpoints and a platform for those viewpoints to be heard and analyzed. So as a leader in a business, you're going to want to be transparent, but you're also going to want to encourage those that are quote unquote following, so those others on the team to be transparent as well. So to allow for honesty and providing viewpoints, and those viewpoints may differ from your viewpoints. Your viewpoints may differ from those working with you and their particular position on a matter. But you want to make sure that you have an environment where transparency is permitted, to where those viewpoints can be freely expressed and discussed, heard, as well as analyzed. Secondly is vulnerability, and that's the self-awareness to allow others to see your weaknesses. And a business owner that has an ego, a leader that has an ego and thinks that they know it all, they have all the answers, they're not going to be an effective leader. Their team isn't going to want to really provide the support that business owner, that leader is going to need. And I found for myself that the more vulnerable I am, the more that my team is willing to kind of step in and help in my areas of weakness. So I think vulnerability is definitely key. Thirdly is authenticity. I think a value-based leader especially, needs to be authentic. That's to be true to yourself and to others, to be sincere. To truly say what you mean what you say, and for people to look at you and say, you know what, he's authentic and he's sincere. And so fourthly is consistency. So the fourth quality is that of consistency. So a consistent effort plus consistent connection combined with a consistent message equals consistent results. And I kind of jotted down this line this last week, but a consistent effort plus consistent connection combined with a consistent message equals consistent results. So a lack of consistency creates confusion in a business. I was actually at a client's here within the last couple weeks, and this was something that was expressed by some of the team members. We were talking about culture, and one of the frustrations that they had in their corporate culture was a lack of consistency by the owner of the business, and this really created confusion within the individuals in the business. They didn't know what to expect from day to day in the business. So the leader was wanting to take them one way, and all of a sudden they would go a different direction. They weren't consistent with their decisions, with the mechanisms that they use to make their decisions. And so I think consistency is another key element in an effective leader. Next is that of integrity. Integrity is one of the core values I have personally, but integrity is to tell the truth regardless how ugly it may be, and to maintain consistency with principles and expectations. So we mentioned that word consistency again, but integrity is to tell the truth regardless how ugly it may be, and to maintain consistency with principles and expectations. Next is emotion. I think a value-based leader should be somewhat emotional. And I don't mean, when I say emotional, I don't mean a lack of control in emotions. I'll kind of define what I mean here. To be emotionally intelligent, and this EI term was kind of made popular here in the previous decade or so. But to be emotionally intelligent is to understand and manage your own emotions and the emotions of those around you. So to kind of understand where you're at, understand positive emotions, understand the negative emotions, and how it affects those individuals around you. And the same thing is true with your team members. So an effective leader understands how to use emotion, how to control his emotion, and also understand how to manage effectively the emotions of the team members as well. So to be emotionally intelligent is to understand and manage your own emotions and the emotions of those around you, and also a self-awareness of how the mission, vision, and decisions make me feel as a leader, as well as those who are I'm working with in the business as well. So self-awareness of how the mission, vision, and decisions make me feel, as well as an understanding of how they make others and the business feel as well. And then lastly, an effective leader needs to be courageous, needs to have courage. And this is a willingness to remain bold through difficult times while maintaining one's own principles. And every business is going to go through cycles. It's going to go through difficult times. On the front end of a business, many businesses fail. Most businesses fail in the first 3 to 5 years. And they don't make it to where they want to be, but it takes a great deal of courage by that leader to kind of work through the difficult times in business. If a business is around long enough, even if it's very successful from the get-go, it's going to have times where things are going to be very difficult. There might be some sort of a crisis that comes into the business. There might be a loss of a key person in the business, whatever it may be. But the leader in the business is courageous enough to be bold enough to work through those difficult times. So a willingness to remain bold through difficult times, circumstances, while maintaining one's principles, having a faith in the people, as well as keeping the end in mind while remaining open to direction and change. So quite a few different elements that we see there. First, a person that's courageous is bold to work through difficult times and still have keep its faith in the people that work for him or her. And in my business, one thing I can't stand micromanagement. And so one element of my business is I really want to give the freedom for the individuals in my business to be able to take their skills and use them effectively, but I also need to lead them effectively and take them the direction that they need to go. So still having a faith in people and while still keeping the end in mind and while remaining open to direction and change. Because when you go through difficult times in a business and you're keeping your faith in your people, there's still going to be times where direction and change may need to move a little bit. So there needs to be a little bit of a change in direction to be bold enough to be able to lead effectively in a way to work through the difficult times and to make the changes, even if it's a change in direction in the business when necessary. So just 7 different character traits of a leader that's an effective value-based leader. Hope this was of some help to you. Have a wonderful day. This is Josh Belk with the Belk on Business podcast.